Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Yes, Mataji, start Mataji. Nobody.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhudhyavata patitanam
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Ram.
ananta koti.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Ram.
May I know who all are on the call today?
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna. Happy Ekadasi to everyone.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji. Wish you a happy Ekadashi. Welcome to the call, Mataji. I think Mataji's, Yashamati Mataji's laptop is not unmuting, so that is the problem. I'll continue.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Now you can hear me, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. You can take
Oh, I did 3 times, but I don't know.
No problem. You can take over, Mataji.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav वृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Sri Guru Maharaj ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Yashamati from Chicago, welcoming all of you to the mid-morning Jap session. I thank you all of you for attending this session and giving your very beautiful association. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. Let us move to our next part of the session, which is Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. May I know who all have joined?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Yasudha Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Preeti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna and a happy Ekadasi to everyone.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Thank you very much for joining, Mataji. Hare Krishna and very happy Ekadashi.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from California. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your warm welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. This is Sudhir from Virginia. Happy Ekadashi to everyone.
Happy Ekadashi, my beta. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Guru and Gauranga. Thank you very much for joining and attending very beautiful association and chanting Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda Gopika. Dandavat Pranam HG Sacipran Prabhu for your deep devotional association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga. Thank you very much for attending this session and very beautiful chanting, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Yeshoda Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Gauranga ki jai. Happy Ekadashi to everyone. This is Shivani from Ashram, Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru and Gauranga. All glories to the Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for joining and chanting very beautifully. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhakti Sangha Japa group. Today we are so fortunate to have His Grace Sacipran Gaurahari Das on the topic of Sri Caitanya Bhagavata Adi chapter 8, verse 25 onwards. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much. Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Sri Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving your very, very valuable time and association to us this morning. Now I hand over call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Is my audio okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the introduction. And I'm very grateful and thankful for this opportunity to speak on the topmost literature, Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. Thank you to Preeti Vilasini Mataji for giving me this opportunity. And for us Vaishnavas, every day is auspicious. We wake up and we are grateful. At least we should be grateful that we have been given an opportunity to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, to associate with the devotees, to do our regular sadhana, worship the deities, offer bhoga, honor prasadam. All of this, everything is auspicious in our life. So, and especially today being Ekadashi, it's even more auspicious. And today being the appearance day of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, it just makes it more and more auspicious. So once again, I'm very thankful and grateful for this opportunity, and also my respects and obeisances to all the devotees on the call who have joined eagerly to hear some Harikatha today. So we'll start with our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamadam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sagana Raghunatha Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhan Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasti Eva Gatiranyata Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So we'll be reading from Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, chapter 8, verse 25 onwards, verse 25 to verse 28. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Chapter 8, verse 25. Gare sarva shastre rabu jiya samihita Goshti maje prabhura padite haila chitta. After properly understanding the meanings of the scriptures at home, the Lord desired to study in the company of his associates. The word samihita means proper endeavor, the desire, the comments, confidential meaning, or purport. The word chitta is a gentle form of the word chitta, which means heart or mind. So now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wants to open up, mingle with his associates, which is one of the reasons why the Lord appears to perform various pastimes for the pleasure of his devotees and to, associate with all of his parshads. Text 26. Navadvipe ache adhyapaka shiromani Gangadasa Panditaye Hena Sandipane. In Navadvipa, there resided the topmost teacher, Gangadasa Pandit, who was non-different from Sandipani Muni. So today's talk, I'll be speaking a little bit about Gangadas Pandit and also Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. For a description of Gangadas Pandit, one should refer to Caitanya Bhagavata Adi khanda 2.99. A description of Sandipani Muni is found in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 45, verses 31 to 48, and in the Vishnu Puran, 5:21-19 to 30. Sandipani Muni was a resident of Avanti and belonged to the dynasty of Kashyapa Muni. In 64 days, Sri Balram and Sri Krishna learned from him the Upanishads, the Vedas, the Dhanur Veda, which is military science, and the Dharma Shastras, which is the religious scriptures, Mimamsa, Tarka Vidya, logic or argument, the 6 types of politics, and the 64 arts and sciences. So all of these, Sri Krishna Balaram, they learnt in 64 days. And I was hearing in one lecture that the reason why it took 64 days was because that was the speed at which Sandipani Muni was able to deliver the content or to teach both Krishna and Balaram. If not, it's an instant thing. The Lord does not need time to learn anything. He knows everything. After mastering all the arts and sciences, they requested Sandipani Muni to accept some Guru Dakshina. After consulting his wife, Sandipani Muni expressed his desire for the return of his son, who had drowned in the ocean at Prabhasha Kshetra. Balram and Krishna immediately went to the shore of the ocean. After they heard from the mouth of the ocean deity that their guru's son had been kidnapped by a demon in the shape of a conch shell named Panchajana, Lord Krishna killed the demon and accepted the Panchajanya conch made from the demon's bones. But not finding their guru's son there, Krishna and Balram went to Yamaraja's kingdom, named Samyamani, and blew the conch shell. When Yamaraj heard the sound of the conch, he came out, and after properly worshipping Krishna and Balram, he returned their guru's son. Sri Balram and Krishna accepted their guru's son and returned him to his father. Text 27. Vyakarana Shastrera Ekanta Tattvavit Taratani Padite Prabhura Samihita. He was in full knowledge of grammatical literature, so the Lord desired to study under him. So this is about Gangadas Pandit. Gangadas Pandit was a great scholar, great teacher, and in this verse, it is said that he was in full knowledge of grammatical literature, so the Lord desired to study under him. Text 28. Bujilena putrera ingita mishravara putra sange gela ganga dasa dvija gara. Understanding the desire of his son, Jagannath Mishra took him to the house of the Brahmana Gangadas. The word ingita means confidential desire, hint, or gesture. So at this point, the Lord had the desire to study. Under the pretext of study, he wanted to associate with his Parshad associates. So with this intent, he expressed his desire to study under Gangadas Pandit to his father, Jagannath Mishra. And Jagannath Mishra, being happy with the desire of little Nimai, he immediately took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the house of Gangadas Pandit. So we'll start our discussion from here. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says that aham hi sarva yagnanam bhoktacha prabhurevacha. That Krishna, Lord Krishna, he's saying that I'm the only enjoyer of all sacrifices. Aham hi sarva yagnanam bhoktacha prabhurevacha. And even Prabhu, he's the master of all sacrifices. So anything that we do, it should be for the pleasure of Krishna, because he's the only enjoyer. So anything else that we don't do for Krishna's pleasure, it is not prescribed by the Vedas. And Krishna says, Natu mam abhijanati tatvenatas chavantite. And one who does not know this, one who does not understand this, abhijanati, tatvenatas, in truth, then what will happen? Chavantite, they will fall down. If one does not understand that Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer, Krishna is the Prabhu, he is the master. If one does not understand this, and if one does not follow in this way, then they will fall down. So that is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. A devotee understands this. A devotee understands that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And all our activities should be geared towards pleasing Krishna. A devotee understands this. And one who does not understand, he's a non-devotee, and what will happen to him? He will fall down. He'll naturally fall down. So this truth, we have to understand this in truth. It is not just a philosophical understanding. It is not just a theoretical understanding, but we have to understand this in tattva, in truth. So this word tattva is widely used in Bhagavad Gita and in other scriptures as well. Krishna even says in Bhagavad Gita that Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschatmi tattvataha. only a devotee who is engaged in the process of bhakti, who is worshipping Lord Krishna through the process of bhakti, only such a person can understand. Bhaktyamam ati. Only a devotee can understand me. Krishna is iterating this again in tattva, in truth. Only a devotee can understand. And how can a devotee understand? Through the process of devotional service. And also Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, how to understand this tattva. How Krishna, that's a famous verse again. Krishna says that this is possible only by approaching a bona fide guru, a bona fide spiritual master. We cannot understand Krishna in any other way. We may get the books, we may get the audio, we may get all the paraphernalia that are used in the process of bhakti, but unless and until we surrender to a guru, unless and until we approach a guru, we submissively serve a guru, we submissively inquire from a guru, we cannot understand this truth. And why guru is so important, and why should we surrender only to a guru? Why not to a teacher in the universities? Because a guru has already realized the truth. A guru has understood Krishna because he's coming in the Guru Parampara. In a Parampara, the guru understands this knowledge. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshantite gnanam gnaninas tattvadarshinaha. A tattvadarshi is one who has already realized the truth. He has seen the truth. He has understood Krishna. And when we approach such a person, such a tattvadarshi, such a guru, we can also understand the truth. And there is no other way. This is the only way. So in today's verses, we see a similar pattern being established by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. It is clearly explained that Gangadas Pandit is a scholar. He is good at Sanskrit and grammar literature. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is approaching him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not little Nimai. He's not approaching anyone and everyone. He is focused. He knows Gangadas Pandit is the right candidate for this. And that's why he's surrendering to, he's approaching, he's desiring, he expressed his desire to learn under a bona fide teacher. That is Gangadas Pandit. So today I will speak a little bit about Gangadas Pandit. I know in the later, in the future verses, the speakers will elaborate it more. But I will speak little briefly about Gangadas Pandit. And Gangadas Pandit, it is explained that he's a very dear associate of the Lord. We will see in some of the verses that we will read from Chaitanya Charitamrita that he's a very dear associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First, we will talk from Gaur Ganadesh Deepika by Srila Kavi Karnapur. In Gaur Ganadesh Deepika, Srila Kavi Karnapur, he explains that Vasishta Muni, who was the guru of Lord Ramachandra, he appears as Gangadas Pandit in Gaura Leela. So that is the connection. So the guru of Krishna. Hare Krishna, I'm hearing some echo. Is there a question? Okay. So we see the guru of Sri Ramachandra. He is coming again as the guru of Sri Mahaprabhu. And also in another place in Gaur Ganadesh Deepika itself, it is also mentioned that Durvasa Muni is also appearing as Gangadas Pandit. So there is multiple identities. We see in other places also, like various other devotees appearing in multiple forms. Balram himself does that to serve Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani as one of the examples. And we see in today's Chaitanya Bhagavat, verse 26, it is also mentioned that Krishna's guru, who is Sandipani Muni, also resembles Gangadas Pandit. So there is so many connections, you know, Vasishta Muni, Sandipani Muni, and Gangadas Pandit. They seem to be the same personality. He has appeared as the professor in Navadvip. And also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami glorifies Gangadas Pandit. He says, this is from Adilila, chapter 10, verse 29. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says, Prabhura Atyanta Priya Pandita Gangadas, Yaharas Marane Hai Sarva Bandhanash. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami very beautifully, he says, Prabhura Atyanta Priya. Gangadas Pandit is very dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he says, Yahara Smarane Hoy Sarva Bandhanash. Very beautiful. He says, just by remembering Sarva Bandhanash, one becomes free from all bondage. Yahara Smarana Hoy Sarva Bandhanash. So we are very fortunate to remember and speak about Sri Gangadas Pandit today. See, the concept of Yahara Smarana Hoy Sarva Bandhanash even applies to Krishna also. Yasya Smarana Matrena
Janma samsara bandhanat.
Janma samsara bandhanat vimukhyate nara tasmai Vishnave Prabha Vishnave, something like that.
Yeah.
Prabha Vishnu. Yeah. So Yasya Smarana Matrena, just by remembering Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, we will get liberated from this material world, from the bondage of this material world. So same way, see, this concept is same. Remembering the devotee also releases us from the bondage of this material world. And we know a devotee is much greater than Krishna. Krishna himself says, Mad Bhaktya Puja Pyadika. The devotee, my devotee is more worshipable than myself. So like that, the same thought process or the same concept applies for devotees also. Just by remembering a great devotee like Gangadas Pandit, we can be freed from bondage. And we know how, we see from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see how Advaita Acharya, he calls out to the Supreme Lord to appear and deliver all the suffering living entities of Kali Yuga. So when the Lord appears, and hearing the plea of Advaita Acharya, that is one of the reasons our Acharyas explain that Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, hearing the pleas of Advaita Acharya. So whenever the Lord appears, he does not appear by himself, all alone. He appears along with his Parshad, along with his dear associates. And he sent some of his associates to appear before him, like Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, all of these are his associates. And they all appeared before Mahaprabhu appeared. So same way, Gangadas Pandit also appeared much before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was one of the elderly personalities who appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip. And based on today's verses, we see how one day Nimai, he went to his father, Sri Jagannath Mishra, and expressed his desire to study further, to study more. We don't see this in most of our kids today. Most of the kids today, they just want to play. Whatever time they get, they just want to play. But Mahaprabhu, to set an example, he himself, he approached his father and expressed his desire to study more. And then he specifically requested to study under Gangadas Pandit. So Jagannath Mishra, being happy with the desire of little Nimai, he took Nimai to the house of Brahmana Gangadas Pandit, so that Gangadas Pandit could train little Nimai. So when Gangadas Pandit, when he saw Nimai and Jagannath Mishra, he was very happy. He immediately accepted Nimai as his student and he began to teach him. And in today's verse also we saw that Gangadas Pandit, he took care of Nimai as if he were his own son. See, that's how teachers were in the olden days. In the Gurukul system, the students, they considered the Guru and the Guru Patni to be their parents. And the Guru and Guru Patni also, they treated the kids in that way. We see that even in the story of Lord Krishna also, how he was taken care at the Gurukul. So like that. So the Lord studied Sanskrit grammar, logic from Gangadas Pandit. And he was so expert. It is explained that Nimai was so expert that just by hearing once, he was able to memorize whatever was taught. And he was able to memorize the statements and their explanation, the sutras and their explanation. He never forgot them. With just one explanation, he was able to remember. And Gangadas Pandit and all the others were very astonished, were very surprised, amazed by the powerful memory of little Nimai. And Gangadas Pandit told his friends that, I've explained so many kids, thousands of students I have educated, but I've never seen a student like Nimai, such a caliber of Nimai. And Nimai, being tricky as he was growing up, naughty as he was growing up, he used to ask various questions to his friends. He used to make a statement and ask them to refute it. This is like a debate kind of situation that he used to establish. He used to make a statement and ask his friends to refute. And then the friends fell in the trap of little Nimai, and they refute Mahaprabhu's Nimai's statement. And then immediately he refuted their statement, and then he established his own response, and then he refuted his own response also. Like this, he was making a lot of funny jokes with his friends and a lot of arguments with his friends, and he impressed everyone in Navadvip with his scholarship. And he was so expert that very soon after studying for a short while, he started teaching as well. He became a teacher as well. So that was how great Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, little Nimai was. Then going fast forward a little bit, after Mahaprabhu went to Gaya and returned back from Gaya, he was completely transformed. He left his scholarly side of dealings aside, and he became a devotee. He became a pure devotee with showing a lot of ecstatic symptoms. This is after he returned from Gaya. So he abandoned all of his attachment to studies, to debates. He stopped wasting his time asking all of these tricky questions to his friends. Instead, he turned to devotion. He started practicing bhakti, and he started preaching to his students and devotees as well, living in Navadvip. And everyone was very happy to see this transformation in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And even at this time also, the link to Gangadas Pandit was that even at this time also, even after Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, exhibiting the symptoms of a great devotee, still he continued to set an example of a good disciple. He went to Gangadas Pandit. He used to offer obeisances to his guru and served his guru. And Gangadas Pandit also, to reciprocate, he used to bless Mahaprabhu, display a lot of affectionate symptoms, affection on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He used to pick up Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and embrace him and bless him with a lot of devotion and affection. So like this, Gangadas Pandit and Mahaprabhu reciprocated with each other. And there is one more nice story about Gangadas Pandit, which comes in during the Mahaprakash Leela. So there is so many interactions with the Gangadas Pandit, but I'm just highlighting some of the key ones. When we know in the Mahaprakash Leela, when Mahaprabhu was blessing all the devotees, revealing so many confidential secrets, confidential pastimes. Once he called his devotees, he called all of his devotees, and he was blessing each of them. He was giving blessings. On this occasion, he called even Gangadas Pandit also. And then he reminded him of an event that occurred in the past. Several years ago, one day Gangadas Pandit had to vacate his home along with his family. And because there was a news that the Muslim soldiers were invading and they were destroying all the houses, they were looting, they were killing people, they were polluting the women, killing whoever comes in their way. So hearing all of this, Gangadas Pandit, he decided to leave his home and cross Ganga and seek protection on the other side of Ganga. So with this desire, he took all of his family members and he went to Ganga. But unfortunately, there were no boats to take them across the river. He was waiting, he waited for a long time. He waited almost the whole night, but nobody came to protect him. There was no boatman to protect him. So then finally he decided that in another few moments, if a boat does not come, then I will just jump in Ganga. I will, along with my family, I'll just jump in Ganga and we will give up our life. Instead of being polluted or killed by the Muslims, I will jump in Ganga. So with this desire, he intensely prayed to Sri Krishna for protection. See, this is what the devotees do. Rakshishyati iti vishwaso. They have strong belief and dependency on Krishna. They have strong conviction that Krishna will surely protect. And when Gangadas, he was praying in this way, immediately Krishna reciprocated. So Krishna, he came in the form of a boatman with a boat, and he approached Gangadas Pandit. And Gangadas, as if, Krishna did not know anything, he just approached and waited there. And Gangadas, he immediately called out to the boatman. He requested him to carry them over to the other side of Ganga. And Gangadas, he told him that, that today you are our only protector today. You are the only one who can protect us. We are in great danger. Please protect us. We are completely under your shelter. And Gangadas offered various gifts and dakshina to the boatman. And the boatman happily carried all of the family members of Gangadas and Gangadas to the other side of the Ganga. This incident, nobody knew. Gangadas was the only one who knew this. But Mahaprabhu revealed this to Gangadas. And Mahaprabhu told him, you know who the boatman was at that time who protected you? It was none other than myself. I only appeared as the boatman. I only came to protect you. So when Gangadas Pandit heard this, he immediately fainted. He fainted in ecstasy. So then there is one more nice incident with Gangadas Pandit. Gangadas Pandit was one of the members in Puri during the Rath Yatra festival. We know in Jagannath Puri, when there was Rath Yatra festival, Mahaprabhu, he organized kirtan parties to sing around the Rath cart. So there were 4 parties, and each party was led by a lead singer, and there were few devotees like chorus singers who responded to the lead singer, and there was one dancer, and there were 2 mridanga players. Like this, there were 4 groups arranged. So Gangadas Pandit was in one of the groups. He was the singer, not the lead singer, but the chorus singer in one of the groups. And in this group, Srivas Thakur was the lead singer, and Nityananda Prabhu was the dancer. So this is one of the important groups. All the 4 groups are important, but we see in this group, we have Srivas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu. And in this group, Gangadas Pandit was also one of the singers. So like this, we can see Gangadas Pandit is a very intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very close and dear associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he took part in various pastimes of the Lord. And it is said that he's the 8th branch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotional tree. So that's how great Sri Gangadas Pandit is. So with this, I will stop here describing Gangadas Pandit. I think we are 35 minutes into the call. So I'll stop describing Gangadas Pandit here, and I will glorify Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Today is his appearance day, and today we are reading from Sri Caitanya Bhagavata, which was composed by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur himself. So first few verses from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the glorification of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. And all of these we already know. It's nothing new. Whatever I'm speaking, it's nothing new. But on this day, specifically being the appearance of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, I just wanted to read few verses in his glorification for my purification. So the first verse is from Adilila, chapter 8, verse 34. Krishna Leela Bhagavate Kahe Veda Vyas Chaitanya Leela Vyasa Vrindavana Das. As Vyasadeva has compiled all the pastimes of Lord Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vrindavan Das Thakur has depicted the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. We know Vyasadeva has elaborately explained, given us the beautiful pastimes of Sri Krishna as part of Srimad Bhagavatam. And same way, Vrindavan Das Thakur has described Mahaprabhu's Leela in Chaitanya Bhagavat. We see Chaitanya Bhagavat has a lot of stories in the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Charitamrita also has some, but there is a lot of philosophy also. But Chaitanya Bhagavat is purely nectarian stories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we know initially this book was called as Chaitanya Mangal, but later on it was called Chaitanya Bhagavat, because Lochan Das gave the same name to his biography of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also in Gangadas Deepika, Srila Kavi Karnapur, he says that Srila Vyasadeva incarnated as Vrindavan Das Thakur in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And it's also mentioned in Gangadas Deepika that one of the friends of Krishna called Kusuma Pida, he also entered into Vrindavan Das Thakur for some special purposes. Like this, there are multiple identities that are given in Gangadas Deepika. Also, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he glorifies Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Chaitanya Bhagavat is such a composition that it cannot be composed by an ordinary human being. It has to, it requires a superior personality, a great personality to compose a grantha like Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he also says, Chaitanya Mangala Shune Yadi Pashandi Yavana Seha Maha Vaishnava Hai Tatakshana. So very beautifully he says, if one hears Chaitanya Bhagavat, then one may be a Pashandi or one may be a Yavana, an atheist, a non-devotee, still doesn't matter. If one hears carefully, then what happens? Such a person can also become a great Vaishnava. So for us, all of us are trying to become Vaishnavas, devotees. So this is one of the solutions for us. We can, some of us like reading, some of us like hearing, some of us like kirtan, chanting, whatever our likes are, we can incorporate Chaitanya Bhagavat into our day-to-day life. We can also become nice Vaishnavas. At least, in progress from where we are. Next, I want to talk about Narayani, who is the mother of Vrindavan Das Thakur. We know Narayani, she's a daughter of Srivats Pandit's elder brother. So there is a nice connection here. Vrindavan Das Thakur is a relative of Srivas Pandit. Srivas Pandit had several brothers, 4 brothers, and the eldest brother's daughter is Narayani. And in Gangadas Deepika, it is mentioned that this Narayani is Kilimbika, who is the sister of one of the nurses of Krishna. In Krishna Leela, one of the nurses of Krishna is Ambika. And Ambika's youngest sister is Kilimbika. Kilimbika appeared as Narayani, and Ambika appeared as Srivasa's wife, Srivas Pandit's wife, who is Malini Devi. So Malini Devi is Ambika, and then Narayani is Kilimbika. Kilimbika, she being the younger sister of nurse of Krishna, used to eat the remnants of Krishna. Okay. Same way in Mahaprabhu's Leela, Narayani used to eat the remnants of Mahaprabhu. Very nice. Same parallel, same thing happening in Krishna Leela. The thing that was happening in Krishna Leela is happening even in Mahaprabhu's Leela also. So, and it is also explained that Mahaprabhu has bestowed a lot of mercy on Narayani. He used to give her his remnants, and it is explained that once Mahaprabhu, he actually called Narayani and he told her to chant Krishna's name and develop ecstasy. As soon as Mahaprabhu said, immediately Narayani, she chanted Krishna and she fainted in ecstasy. She started rolling on the ground in ecstasy. This was when she was around 4 or 5 years old. So since then itself, she developed pure loving devotional service with ecstatic symptoms to Sri Krishna and to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And from this Narayani came Vrindavan Das Thakur. Narayani was married to a pious Brahmana by the name Vaikunthanatha. And this Vaikunthanatha was a descendant of Malini Devi, same ancestry as that of Malini Devi. So there is a nice relation. Narayani is connected to Srivas Pandit, and her husband Vaikunthanatha is connected to Malini Devi, who is wife of Srivas Pandit. So there is nice family connection here. But unfortunately, very soon after Narayani became pregnant, Vaikunthanatha has left this world. So Narayani was widow while carrying Vrindavan Das Thakur. So there is not much information available about Vaikunthanatha. But Narayani, she brought up Vrindavan Das Thakur in the shelter of Malini Devi and Srivas Thakur. So Vrindavan Das Thakur was brought up by Malini Devi and Srivas Thakur. So he had a very good upbringing in their shelter, and it is explained that he appeared around 4 years after Mahaprabhu. He appeared 4 years after Mahaprabhu took sannyas. And Narayani, being a widow without a husband, she was poor, and she brought up Vrindavan Das Thakur under the shelter of Malini Devi and Srivas Thakur, and they took care of him very nicely, as if he was their own son. They took care of him very nicely. And at the age of 16, Vrindavan Das Thakur was initiated by Nityananda Prabhu. See what a great personality Vrindavan Das Thakur must have been to be initiated by Nityananda Prabhu himself, who is the Adi Guru. And after some time, Nityananda Prabhu, he instructed Vrindavan Das Thakur to settle down in a village named Denur. So there is a nice pastime behind this, and we will end after this pastime. So there was a devotee by name Ramahari in this place, Denur. He was a nice devotee and he was a landlord, and especially he was devoted to Lord Nityananda. He accepted Nityananda Prabhu as his guru, and he always contemplated, meditated on the form of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and he always desired to serve Nityananda Prabhu personally. So one day, Ramahari, from a distance, he noticed a lot of people coming towards his village. And as they were coming closer, he could see different people. Some were wearing white cloth, some were wearing blue, some were wearing saffron. And as they came closer, he could see Nityananda Prabhu was one of the devotees in that group. So immediately he ran towards them. He fell down at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu like a rod. He offered his respectful obeisances at the feet of his guru and wept. A lot of tears were coming because of his ecstasy and his joy seeing his guru. He received all of them very nicely, and he invited Nityananda Prabhu and all of the devotees to his home so that they can honor prasadam at his home. But the group being huge, Nityananda Prabhu told Ramhari that, it will be difficult for all of us to fit in your home. So why don't you go and bring rice, dal, and vegetables so we can cook and honor prasadam here itself. So taking the order of Nityananda Prabhu on his head, immediately Ramhari went back to his home. He collected all the ingredients to sufficiently feed all the devotees along with Nityananda Prabhu. And he immediately brought all the ingredients and brought it to the devotees. And the devotees cooked a huge feast with all the ingredients that Ramahari supplied. And they offered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna, and they honored the prasadam. So after they honored the prasadam, Nityananda Prabhu, he had a habit of eating haritaki. Haritaki is like a digestive and a freshener, mouth freshener. So he asked Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavan Das Thakur was the servant of Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu, after having his prasadam, after honoring the prasadam, he asked Vrindavan Das Thakur for haritaki. So immediately Vrindavan Das Thakur, there was a knot in his dhoti. He immediately opened the knot and he took out some haritaki from his dhoti and he offered to Nityananda Prabhu. See, this is a nice reciprocation. A disciple is always aware of the needs of his guru. So this is how a disciple should be. But this pastime explains a nice lesson also. So Nityananda Prabhu, he took the haritaki and he was surprised. He was surprised how Vrindavan Das Thakur was able to fetch the haritaki so quickly, because haritaki is not available everywhere. It is difficult to be found, especially when you are traveling. You don't know where haritaki will be in the new place, in the destination. So it is difficult to find. So Nityananda Prabhu knows everything, but still, as a Naralila, as part of his Naralila, he asked Vrindavan Das Thakur, how did you find this haritaki so quickly? How did you fetch it so quickly? Then immediately Vrindavan Das Thakur said, oh, Nityananda Prabhu, I kept it with me since this morning, since our travel this morning. I kept it with me because I know you will ask for this after lunch. So I just carried with me. And immediately after hearing this response from Vrindavan Das Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu seemed to be angry. Externally, he seemed to be angry at Vrindavan Das. And specifically at this habit of accumulating and saving things for future use. And Nityananda Prabhu chastised Vrindavan Das Thakur for this behavior. And he said that especially for a devotee who is in the renounced order, because Vrindavan Das Thakur is not married, he was renounced. So Nityananda Prabhu said, especially for those who are in the renounced order, one should completely depend on Krishna's mercy. We should not save for future use. Okay, this is specifically for renounced order. For those who are in the renounced order, they should not save anything for future use. Instead, they should depend on Krishna's mercy. Like how we see Gangadas Pandit, how he was dependent on Krishna's mercy, like that. You see even our ISKCON, even in ISKCON also we see so many renounced order devotees. They don't have anything. They don't have any possessions. They just have 1 or 2 pairs of clothes. That's all. And I know so many devotees, they don't even have a bank account. They just depend on whatever they get. They just use it in Krishna's service. That's all. So that's how a person in the renounced order should be, not for a Gruhastha. This order is specifically for it's one who is either in the sannyasi or brahmachari order, renounced order. So Nityananda Prabhu, he wanted to teach this lesson, and he acted as if he was angry and he chastised Vrindavan Das Thakur, and he gave him this instruction that for a renunciant, one should completely depend on the mercy of Krishna. So then Nityananda Prabhu also instructed or ordered Vrindavan Das Thakur to just stay at that place. They were in a village called Denur at that time. So Nityananda Prabhu instructed Vrindavan Das Thakur to just stay there and preach from there and do his bhajan over there. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, after hearing this, he felt very sad, heartbroken, and he cried for a long time, because he could not bear the separation from his spiritual master. But in accepting the instruction of Nityananda Prabhu, accepting the instruction of his guru as his heart and soul, he fulfilled the instruction of Nityananda Prabhu. He stayed at Denur for the rest of his life, and he had nice deities of Gaurnitai, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and he worshipped them. And even today, his deities are being worshipped there. They are being worshipped and taken care of nicely. And actually, it is in this place of Denur that Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur composed Caitanya Bhagavat. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is a great personality. Though Nityananda Prabhu seemingly punished him, but actually Nityananda Prabhu blessed him immensely, because it is only by the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu that Vrindavan Das Thakur was able to compose this great literature, Caitanya Bhagavat. And he is one of the dear disciples of Nityananda Prabhu. Vrindavan Das Thakur made Denur as his headquarters, and he preached from there. And it is also explained that Nityananda Prabhu chewed that haritaki and he spit, and wherever Nityananda Prabhu spit, a tree grew up in that place, and it is explained that the tree exists even now. So, and his deities are also there, and they're being worshipped there. So with that glorification of Vrindavan Das Thakur and Gangadas Pandit, I will end the discussion here. Sorry for ending sooner. Actually, I have another call coming up, so I wanted to stop sooner. And if there are any other discussion points or questions or comments or feedback, we can take that at this time. Once again, thank you all. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and thank you all for joining and listening. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. If does anybody have any question? Because Prabhuji has no more time.
Prabhuji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class, and we're very grateful to you for speaking about Vrindavan Das Thakur and Gangadas Pandit.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Nobody have any question? So, Prabhuji, today you did very, very nicely narrated about the Vrindavan Das Thakur and the Gangadas Pandit. And I got a lesson from there that we should always take shelter of a guru and inquire about everything, whatever we have doubts or everything. So by that we can get the devotional service. So we have to get a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. So by that we can get the science of the Krishna. And the other thing, whoever they are in the renounce order, they should not accumulate anything or saving anything, but not only for them. I think it is for us too. We should not anything more to accumulate. We always depend on the Krishna's mercy. So that is I like it, because we were used to always accumulate, especially me, I say, that it will be, right now it is in cheap price, I can take it like that way. So I like that point. So always we have to depend on Krishna's mercy. So it was very enlightening class and very nice class. And if nobody have any question, then we can close the call. So thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat. Sorry, Mataji. Prabhu, one quick question. This Haritaki or Hartaki, as it is called in Bengali, is prohibited for devotees to consume, right?
Yes, Mataji. I mean, there are various versions of the digestive mouth fresheners that are allowed for devotees. I don't know if this Haritaki is allowed or not, but we have to see, Mataji. There are, but again, we as devotees we can take some mouth fresheners. Okay.
Yeah. It is almost in the like betel nut. It is almost like that, Prabhu. So that's what I think I have read somewhere, that because you have spoken about it, sometimes devotees get excited that, you know, it's called Hartaki in Bengali. So we may go and try to consume, but I believe I've read it that it is prohibited for devotees to consume because it is almost in the category of betel nuts. So just wanted to check with you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the beautiful class, Prabhu. Very, very grateful. Dandavat. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
And also one thing I more like that always whatever we do, we just keep center Krishna, keep the Krishna center. So that is, and whatever we do, everything should be, we have to look Krishna will please or not. So for Krishna's pleasure, we have to do everything. So that is, I like it too, Prabhuji. So this is, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for very enlightening class today. And we are very grateful to you. All glories to you. We look forward to your association again in future. And now we will end the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Caitanya Bhagavat ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Sacipran Gaurahari Das Prabhuji ki jai. Hari Bol.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, HG Sacipran Prabhu Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada Thank you very much for your association and blessing. Dandavat Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.